What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer. Taking a look at, I think, a really old, well, it is old, an old archetype that pretty sure used to be meta at some point. I was not playing the game at this time, but it's always a deck that I've like just wanted to make a playable version of, whatever that means. The problem here is the main deck is absolute garbage. I mean, there's a card that's good. It's called right here, Evilswarm Caster. During the turn this was normal summon, you can normal summon one Evilswarm monster in addition to your normal summon. This is a really uniquely worded card. Like, at any point during your turn, you can normal summon again, even if it gets impermed. It's not like an activated effect, it's like a condition. Just something you like rarely see in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! I thought that was kind of interesting, but all the other ones literally do nothing, like, at all. It's not worth playing the other names. Except for the vanilla, just because there's like good vanilla support in the form of Rescue Rabbit. And that's pretty much it. So it's missing so much, but the problem, or I guess like the bright side, is that the extra deck is fantastic. The Evilswarm monsters are really, really good, and I'm sure this is the reason why it saw meta success. You know, Evilswarm Ophion is a game winner against so many different decks. If Evilswarm got one wave of new, like, it definitely needs like an entirely new main deck. It's kind of like Ice Barrier. Well, I mean, back in the day where the extra deck was so good and the main deck was so bad, kind of feels like that. You know, when it comes to this strategy. But I think if you get like 3 new monsters and maybe 1 extender from the extra deck, it doesn't really need that much, to be completely honest with you. When it comes to the extra deck, it's still good to this day. It's just everything else has to get caught up. So we'll go ahead and I'll go over take a look at my list here. You're running 3 of the vanilla, right? It's an extra normal summon target, and you want to have 3 because of Rescue Rabbit, just in case you open up 1 in your hand. This, equals 2. This 1 Rescue Rabbit equals Ophion. Like I said, against Kashtira, that's like a game winner. The Gate Guardian stuff, that's a game winner. Fallen of Albaz is a game winner. Like, your opponent can't even super poly you. They cannot summon level 5 or higher monsters. So that's obviously very good, and still good against so many of the top decks, to this day, which is awesome. It's kind of cool to see that. Also, this card, not only is it a super duper floodgate, it also searches Infestation Term Minus. Basically, you get to compulsory evacuation for 2. Now, normally you have to give up your Ophion, and that's kind of where I think that extra deck extender, maybe just like a rank up magic or like a swap out where it monster reborn something to go into Ophion. That way you have like another target. So you have to banish one of your Evilswarm monsters to bounce 2 cards. And, this deck has like no gas at all. So the only Evilswarm monster normally is Ophion. So I think if they can just get a little bit more of an extender, this card is really great. Also, it's 2,550 attack for a rank 4, which is like super high. But you're running the vanilla. I talked about how good Castor is. Definitely the best main deck support, which isn't really saying much, but it is good. And if new support comes out, this card will actually absolutely be involved. This is the only one that's kind of okay. If your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can special summon from the hand. It's not a once per turn either, so if your opponent has 2 monsters, you have 2 in your hand. I've had times where I've just kind of special summoned this card, and it kind of worked out that way. Kage Toke, I never know how to say this name. Kage Tokage. It's just a dark level 4 extender, so you can't go into Ophion, unfortunately, but there's a lot of ones that require darks, specifically that being Evilswarm Nightmare. Also, it's a level 4. You're running the Utopia package. If you watch my YouTube channel, I run it all the time. So I run a little bit more of an extended package because there really is no like main deck support for Evilswarm. So I run 3 copies of Ascended Sage and 3 copies of Armed. When you see these 2 cards in your opening hand, you have to be really good, especially when you're going second, right? You don't have to use your normal summon to go into a powerful rank 4. And that can make all the difference in the world. I talked about Rescue Rabbit, right? Just bringing out 2 Evilswarms. Very good little combo there. Especially if you have these kind of 3 cards in your hand, you're actually going to put up a pretty decent end board. 3 Dark Ruler, just playing those really hard going second cards like, Dark Ruler, Forbidden Droplets. It's kind of like your only chance you have. A couple of Imperms here. Galaxy Cyclone is just one of those targets that's really, really good with Photon Lord. This is the rank up magic spell, so hyper rank up magic Utopia Force. Monster Reborn, just one of those level 4 extenders. It's just, this one's absolutely free, something you want to play for sure. Prod of Prosperity, playing a couple of these. You definitely want to like maybe find one of your Rescue Rabbits or find one of your Ascended Sages. It kind of helps do that. Reinforcement of the Army searches these, and also Evilswarm Castor is also a warrior. So these are rocks. This is a plant. Evilswarm has all the different types, but this is just a really good flexible spot. This is when you play Utopia, it's just like a must include. Called by the Grave, right? This is kind of a combo based deck, so it's kind of worth playing. Overlay Network. I've never used this card before, but yeah, it's kind of good. It's like it's not bad. It's not really good going second. Your opponent's definitely going to try to get rid of your board presence as much as possible, but you can target a face-up card you control and bring something back from the graveyard. It's actually helped me extend into some really cool spots, especially if you can go into like any rank 4, right? If you can go into what's it called, Utopic Sage, then you're set up, right? Overlay Network gives you that extra really good extender, and it's a once per turn, so it's a monster reborn every single turn as long as you have a level 4 on the field. So that's the whole point of the deck. And also you can take an XYZ monster and attach a target that's attached to it and add it to your hand. You don't really use that effect too much, but I know there's like definitely at some point going to be some good applications of that. So it's a very solid card. I talked about this card and then 2 imperm. So 8 going second cards, technically 9, right? But this could also count as a going second card, sort of. Look, the deck is very outdated. You have to run all these little janky cards just to try to see some Evilswarm cards, but it is fun, and you'll see some replays where it does, can win you some duels. A couple of Zeuses, right? That's kind of like the power of these like bad rank 4 decks, being able to go into 2-pop Zeuses. Number 99 Dragonar, that goes with Hope Harbinger and Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord, of course. I've been talking about Ophion is still really, really good. And then, S39 Utopia Prime to go with Utopia. And then Evilswarm Bahamut. This card is going to detach material, target a face-up card your opponent controls, discard a swarm card, I guess. And if you do, take control of the opponent's monster. It's not until the end of the turn. Doesn't negate effects, so definitely a cool little toolbox there. Tornado Dragon, cast out all these cards. Like, I've definitely had so many games where I just needed to get rid of something, either a spell and trap, or just get rid of like a really pesky card that like I cannot destroy by card effect for whatever reason, kind of like a Mirror Jade. And this kind of fits the bill. This card is still very, very good. Utopic Sage I've been talking about. Exciton Knight has won me so many duels, and I think you're going to see that in some of these replays. But really impressive. This card is still incredible going second. Abyss Dweller, and then Evilswarm Nightmare. Just all these random rank 4s, just to try to get into some cool stuff. Maybe, hit as many cards as you possibly can. So let's go ahead and look at some replays. And we'll go here. So this is Evilswarm versus Evil Eye, who has the better evil deck. And I have an incredible opening, so I'm feeling very, very good about this. So I can go ahead and special summon. This doesn't require you to control no monsters, which is a really cool kind of distinction. But I can go into Ophion, detach material to grab that double compulsory evacuation. Then I have the Monster Reborn, so being able to go into both of these, obviously, is a very good 2-card combo. Probably not going to use the Prod of Prosperity, right? I'd rather just like have my full extra deck. This is as good of an end board as you could possibly get, when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh! And then during my opponent's turn, I'm going to be able to also bring out Photon Lord. A monster negate, a spell negate. My opponent can't special summon level 5 or higher monsters. Plus a double compulsory evacuation. That's not the worst end board ever, right? Not in the entire game of Yu-Gi-Oh! He's going to go for Sir Soul, right? I'm just going to be able to negate that. He's going to bring out the Beatrice, which is one of the new ones. Searches the field spell, so he's going to be able to add one more extender. But as soon as he brings that extender on the board, I'm obviously going to be cooking here in a second. I realize, well, he goes into links. He doesn't go into any, high-level monsters. So Ophion doesn't really do anything. And that's what makes that card so good is like, yeah, not a lot of the times Ophion is like a really good floodgate, but it's not every time. But a double compulsory evacuation, if your opponent's playing Yu-Gi-Oh!, double compulsory evacuation is good no matter what. So that card is either going to win you the duel from the floodgate, or it's going to give you a really powerful going second card. And I think that's like one of the fun parts of the deck, right? The 3 rest of the monsters from the Utopia engine are enough for lethal. So if you can get both of them on the board, which of course is always the goal, then you've, given yourself a really good chance to win with an ancient archetype. Forbidden Droplets, Dark Ruler. Okay, we'll see what my opponent has here. Or I guess I get to go first. Off the top, I get to see Ascended Sage. Probably the right choice, right? I could go into Ophion, but I might as well get all these like cards out of my deck, Whenever I do the Utopia stuff, it just feels better to go through that, and it's like easier to find all the other stuff. It's also way less bricky. And plus, this is like battle protection. This is definitely the way to go. Now, this isn't exactly Evilswarm. I mean, technically, I did use an Evilswarm monster as like my normal summon, but that just kind of showcases how weak the main deck is. Those cards, none of the cards do anything other than like normal summoning one more time, I guess, is kind of decent. But, I still have some pretty cool plays here to go through. I do have an Evilswarm in the graveyard, so Monster Reborn could be live, for an Evilswarm play, depending. He's going to go for Gaywarm, okay. And then I think he's going to bring out one more big body from B-Trooper. But yeah, you got to read these card effects, right? He's just going to crash into this, which is fantastic. He's going to go for another B-Trooper. And then I think he gets to extend one more time to go into the Papillion. I don't remember how to say this name, but I think it like brings out, normally like a negate is what I know it from, but my opponent's just not going to have anything. It's going to Monster Reborn something, bring back another 4, go into a rank 4, and, that's pretty much the end of the game. Can't complain too much. This is against Dino Morphe, right? This is like Ophion is a FTK against Dino Morphe. They're not going to be able to go into anything. But yeah, I talked about this in the deck profile. Just these 3 cards are the best 3 cards that you can see in the entire game. Now, I hard opened Rank Up Magic Force, but it doesn't really matter, to be honest with you. Still a very, very good opening. I just bring these 2 out and, get the setup here. So we'll see what my opponent's playing. Let's see what their Dino Morphe list looks like. But I'm feeling pretty confident. I think he actually ends up going for, like, Forbidden Droplets, but this card is just so old. Like, your opponent, I guess, just, like, likely is not going to read it. I also love this card because it's a little bit of insurance, for, like, Dark Ruler No More. This card can seriously be turn ending, especially when you think of something like Sprite. If they go through like their normal summon and maybe even their starter, if they don't have any monsters in their hand, like you just win. Yeah, kind of weird, right? Like the way that I guess Martha doesn't let you special summon for the rest of the turn, so if you just normal summon the Dino Morphe, that's okay, but like, why are you playing Pot of Duality and Martha in the same deck? That's kind of weird, right? So at the end phase, he was going to set all these Dino Morphe cards, but hey, look at this. Like, no need to do that, right? Because I can just compulsory evacuation during the end phase, so he can't reset them, and now he's just like 2 turns behind. And I'm going to be able to clean up house here, at the end, just automatically. This is against Gate Guardian, so I talked about, not that this is a meta-defining deck, but it's pretty cool that a new modern archetype has a really bad matchup against an ancient one. I just get to search Castor, right? I don't have to search the Utopia monster, simply because this card is already in my hand. I was running Unexpected Die for a little bit, but Unexpected Die is just replaced by more Utopia monsters. I guess in this case it looks honestly pretty good because I'm going to be able to go into Ophion, and then I can also like go into some of my like ranked plays, but at the same time it just would have been a rank 4 anyways, so it doesn't actually make it that much of a difference. I guess this would have been a different rank 4, but I'm excited. I'm sure one day there's going to be new Evilswarm support, and I'm hoping. Normally, like, or I say recently, I've been pretty darn good at, guessing. I had Evil Eye, and they came out with support the next day, and then I just, like, also looked at Ursartix, and Ursartix also just got, like, a new wave of really good support, so maybe Evilswarm will be next. Just maybe I feel it in my bones. We'll find out. But yeah, like, this is a big problem, He's going to be able to get over my board, but I don't think he has an out, right? The quick play spell might be an out to it, but other than that, I really don't think so. Look at this is like the worst, right? They can't normal summon this card. So, unfortunately, I'm kind of a sitting duck here. I just have to hope this card, wins me the game, but pretty sure it does. Being able to sit on this is really cool. Plus, I still have double compulsory evacuation. And assuming I get any rank 4, I can just normal summon and go into another, pretty decent body to probably stop his plays from going off. This is against Punk, and this is, like, really interesting. Very good to see, right? When you play bad decks like this that are kind of like frail, you need to play like the biggest impact cards, like Ash and Imperm just aren't going to do it. It depends on the deck, but in this one is like definitely not it. And you got to play those evenly matches, those lightning storms, like those kinds of super important cards. It's always interesting to see people with these like special rarities on Omega. I guess you get them from winning tournaments. I thought you could like donate, but it's not like that. They give you like 1 medal for like every, I don't know, like 5 wins or something, and like the lowest rarity is like 300 medals. So it's like you'll never be able to get it through playing normally, which I kind of guess makes sense, but I don't know. I'd like to have some of these more rare cards. This is like a really high rarity punk deck. This person has put in a lot of time, and here I am playing Evilswarm, but I have an okay hand, right? This is a free special summon, so maybe if I see another Evilswarm in my hand, that'd be good, but I actually don't need it, which is kind of funny, but it's okay. So I'm going to go for Exciton Knight, obviously, like, absolutely here. He's going to go for Ghost Ogre, and he's also going to try to negate it, but interestingly enough, right, Forbidden Droplets does not have to... It can negate a negated... Oh, it doesn't, I guess it doesn't negate, but it can just have the attack of that monster, so I am able to just dodge this, and I got really worried. I saw Ziyama, but I'm thinking, he went through a lot of punk cards. I'm not sure if he has that many left. So he's going to go for Deer Note. He's going to, you know, raise the attack of Deer Note. I think this is his play. Like, I for real thought I lost, but here I am. Like, he's not really able to do anything, and for a while I was running time, you know, rendering, and this is just another rank 4, just like more proof that like just having more fuel is always better. I'm going to be able to draw too, but if he gotten anything off the top, I would have been dead. I'm very lucky to have been this far into the duel here, but yeah, the draw 2 does come in clutch, right? The top deck wouldn't have been enough, but he does go for Imperm, but like that's fine. Doesn't really, you know, it would have been nice to go into Ophion, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. I'm going to be able to get over his Deer Note and put some form of interruption here, a decent form of interruption too, for sure. This is against just a random, I think that he just scooped, but I had like a pretty good opening. So all I have to do here is just normal summon, and I think like when you see a you know, something like this is incredible. And I talked about how good these two cards are together. You know, just it's like a really good Monster Reborn. You know, once per turn Monster Reborn. So I can just kind of go into my plays, and you know, this is a pretty good setup. Just, you know, setting up right off the bat, you have really good follow-up, overlay network every single turn, and also Forbidden Droplets. This card is like unbelievably good, by the way. Like this card is like one of the MVPs of the deck. One of those, you know, decks that you can kind of take advantage of it with like a lot of spell cards, and he's gonna banish the top card, and I think we both get to. Then we get to add it to our hand. So yeah, I'll just take Harpy's Feather Duster, and he's going to go for Summon Limit and Skill Drain, but it's like, you let my brother, like, you let me grab whatever card I wanted. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go ahead and attack over this, and yeah, this has that secondary effect. This is unaffected, but if an XYZ monster is destroyed by battle, I get to gain that card's attack, so a pretty good out there. You know, it's just kind of funny that don't play a card that lets your opponent get any card to their hand. Now, if you want to do skill share, that's a completely different, where you stack the top card. You want to use it for like Egyptian gods, but like if you immediately let me grab that to my hand, then you know, like I'm definitely gonna win. I think he was trying to bait me out, you know, with the Ultimate Falcon, but you know, skill drain is significantly better, of course. Let's play one more here, and this is a decent opening too. Again, this is just Utopia stuff now normally, and that probably would have been a much better option. This card is pretty decent, right? Castor can even normal summon an extra copy of Castor. Now, that wouldn't give you another normal summon after that, but you know, so many of these cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Say accept the copy of itself, but this card doesn't. Just gives you a free normal summon, which could make a difference. So I'm very happy with what I see here. Now my opponent's going to set up a full Sprite board, so I'm probably going to have to get through like Double Cross or something. That card is like very popular, and obviously it's very, very good. So we'll see if he goes for a Smashers. It ends up being a Sprite Double Cross. And he's going to go for Melfi of the Forest, so I can search out a Melfi Penny, which is alright. You know, like, of course, this is a pretty decent setup. So he's got Caddy, and he's got Penny. So we'll see what I'm able to do here. I'm going to go, of course, for Dark Ludo more. I don't want him to be able to negate anything. And I know that I'm going to be dealing, you know, with something. So Double Cross, I, like, forgot what I didn't know. Like, can it only attach to Sprite monsters? No, it's attached to anything. So I can actually bring back my Evilswarm monster and go into, like, Ophion or something. And that's, you know, the double compulsory evacuation against Sprite is so good. And just having that ability every single turn to bring something back with XYZ Network. The two cards work really, really well together. It's like really cool that I've like found that kind of home for this, and something I'm definitely going to be like testing out like a lot more in other XYZ strategies. But that's going to do it for Evilswarm. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Other than that, that's going to do it for today's video, and I will see you guys next time.